What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Force here with some more SC2 commentary. Today's game is going to be between FXO BabyKnight and GL Snute. This is a Protoss versus Zerg matchup, BabyKnight versus Snute here on the map Ohana. And let's go ahead and start the game with some player information. Beginning down over here in the lower right-hand spawn position, our red Zerg player, GL Snute. Snute took second place at the Antec Attack number 25 on July 18th of 2012, and then on July 28th, a mere 10 days later, took fourth place at the World Championship Norway Nationals. His opponent over here in the upper left-hand spawn position is our blue Protoss player, who does look to be going for a Forge Fast Expand, FXO BabyKnight. BabyKnight took second place at the Team Liquid Star League 4 Qualifiers North America number 8. On July 4th of this year, and then on July 28th, took first place at the World Championship Series Denmark Nationals. That is some player information to begin the game. Let's go ahead and hop right into things. Once again, BabyKnight will be going with a Forge Fast Expand. We'll have to wait and see if he decides to go Forge first or Nexus first. He isn't moving out quite yet there with any probes. Taking a look over here, normally you'll see one of these eventually just rally to head towards the ramp, and still not happening here, so he's still continuing to pump workers towards that mineral line. Back over here, we do have the probe scout moving into the resource line, getting a full scout of what Snute's doing. He's spotting the lack of extractors. He knows the timing here of this spawning pool. We're also going to see him try to delay the placement of a natural expansion here as best as he can. Basically just continuing to harass. Once he sees a drone try to move out, it's when he's going to pull back and likely either just try to get in the way with his probe and stop that hatchery from getting placed down, or do something like put down a pylon. You can actually see him moving out now with that probe and just going to patrol around here for a little while. Very standard here for the Protoss player, trying to delay this expansion as long as possible. Got a drone actually completely bypassing him, and he might just go for the expansion right down here. I think that's what he's going to do, and yes, Snute decides to ignore this patrolling worker over here and just place down his hatchery right at the natural third position as opposed to immediately putting it at the second base there. Back over here, you can see Snute scouting out BabyKnight's expansion. Now, BabyKnight did decide to go with a Nexus first, so first he placed down the Nexus, then the Forge, following that up with a Gateway, and then once that Gateway finishes, we'll be seeing a Cybernex core. Also, probably likely to see a cannon once he expects Zerglings to be moving out. We already got two Zerglings in play. Going to move forward to engage that probe. And actually, Snute coming out with another expansion. So he's going for a quick double expansion here early on, as opposed to working off of two bases. You can see that first hatch that he placed down over here, getting very close to finish. He'll be saturating that first, of course. Zergling's continuing to chase down this worker and might get the kill before he makes it home. Yes, he does. Gets the final killing blow. Zergling, one kill. Now going to move forward and likely just sit out front here. Or if he's just going to grab that tower. Yeah, looks like he's just going to grab the tower. Now we may eventually see a Stalker push out to try to get some scouting or harass. In fact, we may very well see BabyKnight move out with a Zealot to try to scout this third. I'm surprised that he didn't scout that initially. Seeing as how delayed this natural placement was, I'm actually pretty shocked that BabyKnight didn't scout that initially. He's just going to try to scout it there with a probe, not actually building a Zealot. So either we'll be opening up with a Stalker for scouting and to try to get some map control, or just going straight for sentries for some base defense. Again, we'll have to see what he decides to do. Also, level 1 weapon upgrade coming out here for BabyKnight. Tries to move forward, gets the scout. Now he does spot the creep there. I think he went far enough to spot the hatchery. Yes, he did. Spotting the creep is info enough, plus the queen sitting down there. Of course, a dead giveaway, but yes, he did go far enough to actually spot the hatchery, the physical hatchery itself. So he knows for certain here that there is a third. And with that, he's going to pretty much assume that there won't be Speedlings in play for a while. And you can see now coming out here with his Stalker first. So with this, he'll be able to push out, try to get the towers, maybe do a little bit of harass. Looks like we're going to have one Zergling chill out at the third over here. Wants to see if BabyKnight responds with a third of his own or not. Warp Gate research coming through. Again, the level 1 weapon upgrade coming through. Back over here, we are now just seeing some extractors for Snute, getting those saturated here in the main. Nothing at the natural, nothing at the third yet. And even though this was placed down as his second base, I'm still going to call it the third, just because it makes a lot more sense. Probe now moving out. Stalker has control of the tower. And a probe's going to move with the Stalker. No, he's going to move independent of it, moving down to the left here. Might see some proxy pylon placement. He's going to chill out up here. A nice placement of the Overlord, though, by Snute, so he knows about this. And also knows about that pylon coming down. Snute fully aware of what's going on over here. Warp Gate research very close to finish. Stalker's going to move forward, try to take out the Overlord. May very well get it. We've got 8 Zerglings in production. Saw 1 Zergling over here. That gets taken out by the Photon Cannon. Or was it the Stalker? Doesn't really matter. It died. Pylon over here gets canceled. Still the Pylon over here, though. And Overlord manages to just barely sneak away. A few Zealots getting warped in, and here we go. BabyKnight going to start this off with a bit of aggression. Also got a Dark Shrine here for BabyKnight. Oh boy. Very fast DT from him. And here comes the push towards the third. Let's see what BabyKnight is able to do. We've got 5 Roaches in production. A few Zerglings in play already. Gonna try to get us around on those Stalkers. Also Queen moving forward to try to do a bit of damage. Couple Zerglings coming from the backside. One gets picked off. The other one makes it to the rest of the troop there. Some more Warp-ins. More Zealots. Now 8 Zealots, 2 Stalkers, pressuring this expansion. We've got 8 Roaches coming through very soon. Level 1 weapons are done. Level 2 weapons being researched right now in conjunction with that Dark Shrine coming through. And actually, Snute with the Roaches now able to hold off BabyKnight and push him back. BabyKnight some more Warp-ins. I think he's just buying himself time until eventually he comes out with those DT. Now, we aren't seeing any counter-harass or anything. We've got a Scouting Overlord over here. But at the moment, Snute really just focused on making sure he can defend himself here against this aggression. Again, we'll be seeing those Dark Templar very soon. There it is. 2 Dark Templar, 2 Zealots now getting warped in. Also a Robo in production back at home for BabyKnight, plus that Blink research. We've got Carpus level 1 coming through for Snute. Gonna help make these units a bit more durable. Now, I'm a little concerned here. He's got 1 Overseer coming through. There it is. He knows the DT are here. Wants to make sure that he can spot them. A Force Field cuts off a few of those Roaches from pulling up into the Natural. That's going to allow those Zealots to get us around and do some damage there. And I got to see here where those DT are and how much damage is actually being done. DT over here takes out the Queen. Going to allow him to continue to do some damage. And is that the only DT left? Yeah, looks like it is. That DT gets taken out, and I think that does it. No more DT, so those DT really didn't do that much damage. Let's take a look at the total resources loss count here, and BabyKnight is behind, losing 1,900 resources, about to be 2,000. 2,125 resources lost for BabyKnight as opposed to the 1,425 for Snute. It's a great defense by Snute. He'll be moving out with some counter Roach aggression. Roach speed and that Glau reconstitution is coming out. Also some Overlord. Movement speed and pick and drop ability coming through here. So Snute maybe responding with some Overlord drops. And you know, we did see a Robo that's coming out with some Immortals right now. Is that all he has? Yes, just 1 Immortal and 7 Stalkers with a few Sentries coming through. This is a large Roach force, but looks like Snute is deciding not to be aggressive at the moment. He does have a few Overseers chilling out over here. And let's see if there's any more DT on the board. No, there's not. So DT harass pretty ineffective. All in all, that push did not go so well for BabyKnight again. We took a look at the resources lost, and he is behind a little over 600 resources here. So again, BabyKnight not being that effective in that initial aggression. You know, the DT really did have a great opportunity, but Snute was all over spotting the fact that they were there, getting those Overseers in play. We also saw, of course, the Spore Crawler over here, which is a detector, and a Spore over here, plus a Spine. So there's a nice DT defense with a Queen and a Spine and a Spore to detect. He's all set. And actually, yeah, gonna see a Spine over here. Beautiful here, preemptive action, just in case any more DT try to hit him while he's gone. Very, very smart play there by Snute. So we do have a third coming through here for BabyKnight that is just about to finish. Very large army here for Snute. And here are all of his Overlords. Now he can lift off and drop. And with all these Overlords here, that is his intention. And there you go. Now, is this something that BabyKnight is aware of? Well, the answer to that appears to be a no. So big Doom drop coming up in the main right now. Snute about to do some tremendous damage. Let's see how BabyKnight can defend. Roaches and Zerglings getting dropped. There are no Banelings here, but Roaches and Zerglings are, of course, a strong force. He's going to try to cut off these forces down here and delay them with those Zerglings, allowing the Roaches to continue to push through and do some damage. Taking out pylons, unpowering these warp gates, making for a smaller possible reinforcement army here from BabyKnight. BabyKnight now pushing forward with the bulk of his army, able to do some damage. And I cut off a lot of these roaches. At the same time, we've got a small roach force moving now towards the third. He's going to be able to do some damage after taking out that cannon. It looks like BabyKnight is going to be able to take care of the rest of this, but he has taken some hefty losses. Let's take a look at the worker kills. Snute killing off 34 workers so far. He's going to take out this Nexus. He's unpowered all of these warp gates. Plus, we still have these roaches over here doing some damage. Going to take out that one stalker. And again, with all these unpowered warp gates, he's really having a hard time here. You just can't warp in enough reinforcements. We've got some more and more units streaming across the map here, roaches and zerglings. Looks like he has decided to pull back, but look at the damage done. Nexus gone, still all of these unpowered warp gates. The more time that goes on, the smaller army BabyKnight's gonna have. Basically, every 30 seconds that go by would have been an opportunity to warp in units. The Zealots, Stalkers, and Sentries, they're sitting at about between, I believe, 28-second and 32-second cooldown. So roughly every 30 seconds, you get an opportunity to get a full round of warp-ins. And every time 30 seconds passes, that is that many less units that he could potentially have in his army. It's going to make that much harder for him to defend. I still keep checking BabyKnight's vision because I want to see if he has any DT moving out, but it doesn't look like that's the case. I mean, it looks like the DT harass is pretty much done. Plus, we saw those defenses back at home with a Spore and Spine at every expansion, plus the Queen to defend. He's pretty much all set against any DT, at the very least enough to buy himself some time. Looks like BabyKnight is going to decide to move out here. Try to push out with a counterattack and do some damage. Now, we'll take a look again at the resources lost. Snute behind now after that engagement, but look at this. 43 workers killed with that drop harass, plus pushing towards the third with his roaches. That is a lot of workers killed. Really puts BabyKnight behind in terms of economy. Here we go, moving forward. Nice force fields cutting off pretty much an entire roach army. There's no way that if BabyKnight engages this force full on that he'll be able to deal with this. There are so many roaches, plus speed link, 28 more links coming through. We get some more and more upgrades coming out here as well. Snute now sitting at 2 Carapace, 1 range, level 2 range, plus 1 melee coming through. Roach are going to try to push forward from multiple angles. Decide to hold off on a moment. We do have a 4th coming through over here for Snute as well. Any more dropping? Any additional harass? No. Taking a look at BabyKnight, he's got 3 weapon upgrades, which makes him quite deadly if he can protect himself with those force fields. Allow those stalkers to push off those roaches, but there are so many. Now, we do have 2 DT getting warped in right now, so I'll be interested to see where those are planning on going. 1 Zealot moving in this direction. All right, here we go. Now moving forward there with those roaches, trying to get us around. Force fields going down, using up a lot of that sentry energy. Snute, as long as he keeps them back here and forces those sentries to use up their energy, stops him from pushing towards his bases, he's actually doing okay. Move forward again, also move forward with the Overlords. Now the point of that is to try to provide some distracting fire so that the Stalkers are attacking Overlords rather than roaches, allowing the roaches to, of course, stay alive and continue to do damage. And again, Snute doing a good job of just holding this army back and giving himself time to get more and more. He's already got such a huge advantage here. Gonna move forward. Roaches just destroying those Stalkers once they get within range. Again, those force field walls, making that a little more difficult. I still think Snute is in a very strong position here. He's got that income advantage from killing off so many workers. He's actually placing down a hatch up here, which is kind of hilarious. Just basically thinking, oh, BabyKnight's probably not going to scout that position for one of my expansions. Moving forward again, more force field walls. Roaches, though, continuing to push and whittle down the energy of those sentries. Losing a lot of Overlords here, actually really hurting Snute. You can take a look, he is above supply cap, so he's going to turn out quite a few Overlords to actually get past that. Only 4 right now. Probably going to want a few more for him to continue to produce units after the fact. BabyKnight just continues to dance back and forth. Oh, he does have the armor upgrade out now. We've got Groove Spines. Looks like we'll be seeing some Hydras in the mix here. And once those are in play, I would be really concerned for BabyKnight. Hydras really tear apart these gateway units. Let's take a look, though. BabyKnight pushing. He's getting a Roach army, though, on the backside, too. Able to force field the bulk of the force over here at this expansion and push those Roaches back. Here come the Hydras, though. 7 in production. Nice force field placement. It's going to let him pick off these expansions. This hurts. Oh boy. That really, really hurts Snute here. Losing that one hatch. He can still, of course, mine towards this one. It is just barely still there. And again, utilizing these force fields, BabyKnight's been doing a pretty decent job of staying aggressive and keeping Snute back here, which is allowing him to rebuild up his worker count. Here we go, big engagement now. Forcing to engage with the workers as well, and oh boy, these force field placements really hurting Snute. A lot of his army unable to get engaged, and unreal after that very effective drop, killing off a ton of workers and doing a pretty decent job of defending. Ends up getting taken out, having a really hard time dealing with those force fields so many times, cutting off his army, stopping units from engaging. We saw attempted pushes a few times from Snute to try to force BabyKnight back, but again, with a few force fields, BabyKnight able to stay as a constant threat here right outside the natural in the third, and eventually taking out these hatcheries and getting the win. Alright my friends, that does it in this game here between BabyKnight and Snute. Really impressed with BabyKnight's performance after taking such a huge hit when we saw Snute drop inside of BabyKnight's main, at the same time push towards his third. He killed off a lot of workers, which of course hurt BabyKnight's economy. Also unpowered a ton of those warp gates and killed off that main nexus, but still BabyKnight with this aggression and some nice force field work, able to eventually whittle down Snute and force the GG. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this game. Stay tuned in the future for more SC2 commentary and gaming coverage right here on the channel. And as always, keep watching and keep owning.